Have you ever glanced in the mirror and thought, why does this color that once lit me up now make me look tired? It's a quiet shock many women over 60 know well. The same shade that once felt flattering suddenly feels harsh, almost like it's stealing the light from your face. Two women can sit in the same salon chair, walk out with the same color, yet one looks radiant and the other somehow looks older. The secret isn't the cut or even the stylist. It's the color itself. Hair color is not just about fashion. It's about how the world sees your skin, your eyes, your spirit. The right shade can soften lines and add glow. The wrong one can cast shadows you don't deserve. And here's the truth. Some colors quietly age you without you even realizing it, while others can give you back the warmth and brightness you thought was gone. Today, we're going to uncover 5 hair colors that age women after 60, and 3 that can bring your glow back instantly. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, tap the like button, and share this video with a friend who deserves to shine too. 1. Jet black. The harsh contrast. You catch your reflection and suddenly your hair feels louder than your smile. It's not that you don't recognize yourself. It's that your jet black hair no longer feels like the ally it once was. I know why you've kept it. Because it feels safe. Because it's the shade you wore when people told you how striking you looked in your 20s and 30s. Because it seems like the best shield against gray. I did the same, believing the darker the hair, the younger I'd look. But here's the truth. After 60, jet black can quietly turn from your signature strength into the very thing that makes you look older. As skin softens and lightens with age, jet black creates a contrast that's almost too severe. Instead of framing your face with grace, it can cast shadows, deepen lines, and drain the warmth from your features. No woman wants to hear, "You look tired." Yet that's what jet black whispers, even when you feel vibrant and alive inside. It's not that black is wrong. It's that flat, solid black leaves no room for light to move, no space for your natural glow to shine through. I'll never forget my friend Linda. She wore jet black faithfully for decades, swearing it kept her looking polished. But in photos, her face always seemed weighed down, as if the color was pulling her features down with it. Then one day she softened it, dark chocolate with a touch of caramel near her temples. When her granddaughter ran up and said, "Grandma, you look so pretty today," her eyes filled with tears. That's the difference the right shade makes. It's not about covering up age. It's about letting your truest self come forward. And if you're nodding along because jet black feels familiar to you, I want you to know this. You don't have to abandon the depth and richness you love. A soft black with warm undertones, a deep espresso kissed with subtle highlights. These shades still carry strength, but they also reflect light. They frame your face instead of overpowering it. They make space for your smile, for your eyes, for your story. Think of it like lifting a heavy curtain in a dark room. Suddenly, the sunlight pours in, and everything feels lighter. That's what happens when you trade harsh jet black for something softer. It doesn't erase you, it reveals you. So let me ask you this. If the deepest black can sometimes work against your natural beauty, what happens when you swing to the other extreme, the lightest blonde? It might sound effortless, even tempting, but platinum blonde carries its own quiet trap. And that's where we're heading next, too. Platinum blonde, the cool light that drains the skin. If jet black feels like a heavy curtain blocking the sunlight, platinum blonde can feel like the opposite, a floodlight that washes everything out. On paper, it sounds like the perfect solution, right? A shade that blends in with gray, saves you from constant root touch-ups, and seems effortlessly chic. But here's the part no one tells you. After 60, platinum blonde can quietly strip away the warmth in your face, leaving you looking pale, even fragile, when you're anything but. I get why it's tempting. Many women say, if I just go really light, it will blend with my natural silver, and I won't have to fuss so much. And for a while, it can feel liberating. But then one day, you notice your skin looks washed out in photos, or a friend gently asks if you're feeling tired when you're actually full of energy. That's platinum blonde at work. Not maliciously, but mercilessly. Its icy undertones can highlight every flush of redness, every undertone of yellow, every shadow under your eyes. Instead of softening, it magnifies. My friend Marjorie wore platinum blonde for 5 years. She loved the idea of embracing a fashion-forward silver look without fully letting her natural gray take over. But the color fought against her. Her complexion looked cold, her lips seemed paler, and her eyes lost some of their sparkle. One day, at her daughter's suggestion, she shifted to honey blonde with golden highlights. The transformation was instant. Her face looked warm again, her skin seemed to glow, and her blue eyes suddenly popped like jewels. People didn't comment on her hair, they commented on her. That's when she realized the best hair color doesn't call attention to itself. It calls attention to you. And here's the truth. Platinum blonde isn't the villain. It's simply unforgiving. It works beautifully on young skin with natural pink flush and firmness. But after 60, skin needs help reflecting warmth and vitality. Shades like warm blonde, honey blonde, or even a light champagne with golden highlights act like soft candlelight. They don't wash you out. They wrap you in glow. If you've ever thought going lighter will make things easier, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, does this shade bring light to my face or drain it away? Your 60s aren't about disappearing into neutral tones. They're about finding colors that honor where you are now, colors that let your natural beauty radiate without effort. And that brings us to another bold choice many women make when they want to reclaim vibrancy: bright red. It feels fiery, fearless, unforgettable. But here's the twist. While red can be dazzling, the wrong kind of red can turn into a heavy burden. Let's talk about that next. 3. Bright red. When fire turns into a burden. There's something about red hair that feels like rebellion, isn't there? It's the color of fire, passion, and unapologetic confidence. For decades, bright red has been the shade women choose when they want to be noticed, when they want to declare, "I'm still here and I'm not fading into the background." And let me be honest with you, I admire that spirit deeply. But here's the thing. After 60, that blazing fire can sometimes turn into a spotlight that reveals more than you'd like. I know women who chose vivid red because they didn't want to feel invisible. Maybe you've thought the same. If I keep my hair bold, no one will see me as old. And yet, the reality is often the opposite. Bright red has a way of pulling out every undertone in your skin. Redness around the cheeks, tiny capillaries, age spots. Instead of looking youthful, it can make your skin appear more flushed, more uneven, and more tired than it really is. It's not that your spirit isn't vibrant, it's that the color doesn't play fair with the softer canvas of mature skin. Take Susan, for example. She had been known for her striking red hair since college. People remembered her as the redhead with the big laugh, and she loved that identity. But after 60, something shifted. She noticed that her bright red hair no longer matched the woman she saw in the mirror. Her skin looked perpetually pink, her features seemed harsher, and instead of compliments, she started hearing comments like, "Are you feeling okay?" Her stylist suggested a softer auburn, kissed with copper tones. The first time she stepped outside with her new shade, her neighbor stopped her with wide eyes. "Susan, you look incredible. Did you just get back from vacation?" She hadn't changed her makeup, her clothes, or her routine, just her hair color. That's the power of the right red. Here's the secret. Red doesn't need to be abandoned. It just needs to be refined. Deep auburn, chestnut red, or even subtle copper highlights can bring back the warmth without overwhelming your features. These shades still carry fire, but they burn like a glowing ember instead of a roaring blaze. Softer, steadier, more flattering. They highlight your eyes, soften your complexion, and let you shine instead of your hair stealing the show. Because let's be honest, The goal isn't to erase your age or your personality. The goal is to align them. You're still bold, you're still vibrant, but there's a smarter way to let your hair tell that story. And if bright red feels like too much, what about going completely outside the box? Colors like blue, green, or purple may seem like fun experiments, but after 60, they carry a different challenge. In fact, they can sometimes pull attention away from your beauty entirely. That's exactly where we're headed next. 4. Unnatural colors, when bold becomes out of place. There's a part of us, no matter how many candles are on the cake, that still wants to rebel. Maybe that's why, in recent years, more women have reached for colors like teal, purple, or electric blue. It feels playful, liberating, almost like reclaiming youth on your own terms. And listen, I love that spirit. The desire to say, I'm not going to shrink just because I've hit 60, is powerful. But here's the tender truth. Those bold, artificial colors can sometimes do the opposite of what you hope. Instead of highlighting your personality, they can drown it out. I've seen it so many times. You walk into a room with hair the color of amethyst or seafoam green, and what do people see first? Not your smile, not your eyes, not the wisdom etched beautifully in your expression. They see the hair. And while it might get attention, it rarely gives the kind of attention you truly want. Unnatural shades have a way of pulling the gaze away from you, making the hair the main character and leaving your features in the shadows. Worse, those colors tend to highlight what you'd rather soften: dark circles, fine lines, uneven skin tones. Evelyn, a woman I met at a retreat, told me her story. After retirement, she wanted to feel young and fun again, so she dyed her whole head a bold violet. At first, it felt exhilarating. But soon, she realized people were commenting more on her crazy hair than on her as a person. I felt like my hair was speaking louder than I was, she confessed. One day, she shifted to a soft brunette base with just a few streaks of smoky lavender woven in. The change was remarkable. Instead of overshadowing her, the subtle lavender made her green eyes sparkle. Friends started telling her, "You look radiant," instead of, "Wow, your hair is different." And that's the heart of it. You don't have to erase your playful side. You just need to channel it in a way that supports your beauty, not competes with it. Try adding hints of color through highlights, or even play with accessories, scarves, glasses, jewelry, that let your personality shine without stealing the spotlight from you. Because your 60s are not about hiding or dimming down. They're about refining, about finding balance between self-expression and self-celebration. And speaking of balance, what happens when you go the opposite way, choosing a completely natural gray but letting it lean into ashy, flat tones? That choice can feel authentic, but it comes with its own surprising challenges. Let's talk about that next. 5. Ashy gray, when natural turns dull. There's something deeply noble about deciding, I'll just let my hair go natural. After all, silver strands can feel like a crown of wisdom, proof that you've lived, loved, and endured, and many women embrace that choice with pride. But here's the delicate truth. Not all grays are created equal. Some sparkle like polished silver in the sun, while others fall flat into an ashy, dull tone that casts a shadow across your face. I hear it often. I just want to be authentic. I don't want to chase youth anymore, and I respect that more than I can say. But authenticity shouldn't mean settling for a version of yourself that feels drained or muted. Ashy gray, especially when it lacks dimension, can absorb light instead of reflecting it. The result? Skin looks sallow, eyes lose their brightness, and the whole face seems a little more tired than it truly is. Helen's story comes to mind. She decided in her late 60s to stop coloring and let her hair grow into its natural ashy tone. At first, she felt liberated, but over time, she noticed something in photos. Her face looked dim, almost as if someone had lowered the brightness. When her stylist suggested weaving in silver-white highlights, everything shifted. Suddenly, her hair caught the light, her eyes sparkled again, and people kept saying, "You look so fresh." Nothing else had changed, not her makeup, not her clothes, just the way her hair reflected light. That's the secret. You don't have to fight against your gray, you only need to help it shine. Blending in silver, pearl, or even soft beige tones can transform ashy into radiant. Think of it like adjusting a painting's frame. The subject is the same, but the way it's presented changes everything. And here's what matters most: letting your hair work with you, not against you. Life after 60 is too precious to spend feeling invisible or dulled down. Your hair should be a source of light, a mirror that reflects back your inner vitality. Now we've walked through the shades that can quietly add years, sometimes without us realizing it. Jet black, platinum blonde, bright red, bold, unnatural colors, and flat, ashy gray. But what if I told you the opposite is also true? That the right shades can actually lift your features, warm your complexion, and make you look not younger in a forced way, but fresher, more alive, more you. In fact, the next colors aren't about hiding age at all. They're about amplifying your glow. And the first one we'll explore carries the same warmth and richness as polished wood in golden light: chestnut brown. Isix. Warm chestnut brown. The warmth of wood. After talking about the colors that can quietly add years, it feels refreshing to finally turn toward the shades that do the opposite. Colors that breathe life back into your reflection. And one of the most forgiving, most flattering choices for women over 60 is chestnut brown. Think of polished wood catching the afternoon sun. That's what chestnut brown does for your hair. It has a depth that feels rich but not heavy, warm without being brassy. Where jet black might cast sharp shadows on your face, chestnut balances everything, creating harmony with skin that's lightened over time. It adds softness to your features while keeping dimension and fullness in your hair. Margaret, a woman I met at a style workshop, shared her transformation. For years, she clung to jet black because she thought it was the only way to cover silver roots. But after 65, she noticed that her hair was starting to feel harsh against her complexion. I looked in the mirror and saw the hair first, dark, flat, unforgiving, and my face just disappeared, she admitted. When she finally allowed her stylist to shift her to a chestnut base, woven with faint caramel threads, something magical happened. Her skin seemed to glow. Her smile stood out. For the first time in years, she felt like people were seeing her again, not just her hair. That's the quiet power of chestnut brown. It gives back what time sometimes dims. The warmth reflects onto your skin, softening lines and brightening undertones. It works especially well if your hair is thinning because the rich tones give the illusion of density, making each strand count. And unlike extreme shades, chestnut adapts easily. It pairs beautifully with subtle highlights, allowing you to play with depth and light without overwhelming your look. What I love most is how approachable it feels. You don't need to be dramatic. You don't need to overhaul your entire appearance. A shade like this whispers instead of shouts, yet somehow it gets noticed for all the right reasons. And here's a little secret. Chestnut brown is one of the easiest colors to maintain. It fades gracefully, meaning you won't find yourself constantly battling obvious roots. Instead, you get freedom. Freedom to live, to laugh, to travel, without worrying that your hair is betraying you in the mirror. So if you've been holding on to darker shades because you thought they made you look younger, chestnut brown offers a softer, wiser answer. It doesn't fight against your age. It moves with it, highlighting your best features instead of hiding them. And while chestnut brown brings warmth and depth, what if you want something brighter? Something that feels like a kiss of sunlight on your strands? That's where caramel highlights come in, adding sparkle in the most effortless way. 7. Caramel highlights. Sweet drops of light. Sometimes you don't need a full change to feel transformed. Sometimes all it takes is a touch of light in the right place. That's the magic of caramel highlights. They're not overwhelming, they're not high maintenance. They're subtle whispers of sunshine that land exactly where you need them most. Imagine this: strands of golden caramel woven gently through your hair, catching the light when you move, reflecting a softness back onto your face. These highlights don't scream, "I dyed my hair." Instead, they suggest a life that's full, a spirit that's glowing, a woman who knows herself and wants her features, her eyes, her smile, to shine first. Diane's story captures it perfectly. She had always worn her hair in a simple, medium brown, nothing too bold. One day, at her stylist's suggestion, she added just a few caramel ribbons around her face. That weekend, she went to brunch with friends she hadn't seen in months. The first thing they said wasn't nice hair. It was, "Did you just come back from vacation? You look incredible." That's the illusion caramel highlights create, a natural sun-kissed freshness, like you've been living your best days outdoors, not sitting under a salon light. And the beauty of this color is how kind it is. It works with thinning hair because highlights add the illusion of volume and movement. It works with silver strands because caramel blends seamlessly, turning gray into glow. And it works across skin tones, warming the complexion without washing it out. Another gift: maintenance. Unlike dramatic all-over dyes, caramel highlights don't demand constant retouching. As they grow out, they soften into the hair, almost like they were always meant to be there. That means less time in the salon and more time living your life. For women over 60, there's something profoundly freeing about knowing you don't need to chase perfection. You just need a few well-placed touches to let your natural beauty shine. Caramel is exactly that, a reminder that sometimes less really is more. So if you're craving brightness without harshness, energy without effort, caramel highlights might just be the sweet spot you've been waiting for. And if you think caramel sounds soft and luminous, wait until you meet honey brown. It's not just a highlight, but a full-bodied color, one that wraps you in warmth and makes people say, "You look like yourself, only younger." 8. Honey brown, the honey of maturity. There's a reason honey has been cherished for centuries. It's golden without being loud, sweet without being heavy, comforting yet full of life. And when that quality is translated into hair color, honey brown, it becomes one of the most forgiving, radiant choices a woman over 60 can make. Honey brown is like sunlight filtered through amber glass. It's soft, it's warm, and it knows exactly how to flatter skin that's lightened and softened with age. Where platinum blonde can drain the color from your face, honey brown does the opposite. It infuses your complexion with warmth, making your eyes brighter, your skin more even, and even those fine lines seem to relax. Gloria's story always makes me smile. She had spent years trying to maintain a pale, icy blonde, convinced it helped her look chic and youthful. But she often felt washed out, especially under harsh lights. One day, her stylist gently guided her toward honey brown. The result? Stunning. When she walked into her granddaughter's birthday party, her son pulled her aside and said, "Mom, you look 10 years younger." And Gloria admitted later, it wasn't just that she looked younger, it was that she felt more herself, softer, more vibrant. That's the beauty of honey brown. It doesn't demand attention, it invites it. It blends naturally with silver strands, giving the illusion of depth and movement. For women with fine or thinning hair, it adds a visual fullness, almost as though each strand has more body, and it flatters nearly every undertone, because its warmth isn't extreme, it's balanced, like a golden scarf that lights up your whole face. But perhaps the most powerful part of honey brown isn't just how it looks, it's how it feels. It feels approachable, effortless, alive. It's not trying to erase the years you've lived. It's celebrating them with a glow that says, "I'm still here and I still shine." After exploring 5 shades that can age you and 3 that can revive you, honey brown feels like the perfect conclusion to this journey, because it isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming radiance, about remembering that hair color isn't just cosmetic. It's emotional. It changes not only how the world sees you, but how you see yourself. So, as you stand at the mirror wondering what's next, remember this. The right color isn't about looking younger for others. It's about feeling luminous for yourself. And honey brown, with its quiet warmth, can be that gentle reminder every time you catch your reflection. Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, let's step back and see the bigger picture, because this is about more than just color. It's about embracing a version of you that feels alive, confident, and ready for every season still ahead. We've walked together through the colors that can quietly add years and the shades that give them back. And maybe, along the way, you recognized yourself in one of these stories. The jet black that once felt powerful but now feels too sharp. Or the honey brown that seems to whisper, "Try me, you'll glow." The truth is, hair color isn't just about covering silver or following trends. It's about light, how it bounces onto your skin, how it softens your features, how it makes you feel when you glance in the mirror. At 60 and beyond, you don't need to chase youth. You need to choose colors that honor who you are now while letting your spirit shine through. So if you've been clinging to a shade out of habit, I encourage you. Give yourself permission to explore. A small shift, a warmer brown, a touch of caramel, a honey glow, might be the very thing that helps the world see you the way you feel inside. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which color speaks to you most? Share it in the comments. Subscribe for more styling secrets. And let's keep celebrating beauty at every age. Because age doesn't limit your glow, it deepens it.